Keep love in your heart. A life without it is like a sunless garden when the flowers are dead. The world is divided into two classes, those who believe the incredible, and those who do the improbable. I have the simplest tastes. I am always satisfied with the best. A man who does not think for himself, does not think at all. When I was young, I thought that money was the most important thing in life. Now that I am old, I know that it is. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. There are only two tragedies in life. One is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it. There is no sin, except stupidity. I have nothing to declare, except my genius. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. It is better to be beautiful than to be good. But it is better to be good than to be ugly. No man is rich enough to buy back his past. If one cannot enjoy reading a book over and over again, there is no use in reading it at all. All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That's his. There are only two kinds of people who are really fascinating. People who know absolutely everything, and people who know absolutely nothing. Success is a science. If you have the conditions, you get the result. Whenever a man does a thoroughly stupid thing, it is always from the noblest motives. Life is far too important a thing ever to talk seriously about. Deceiving others. That is what the world calls a romance. He has no enemies, but is intensely disliked by his friends. There is only one thing in life, worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. If there was less sympathy in the world, there would be less trouble in the world. What is a cynic? A man who knows the price of everything, and the value of nothing. I am not young enough to know everything. Men always want to be a woman's first love. Women like to be a man's last romance. Consistency is the last refuge of the unimaginative. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. A work of art is the unique result of a unique temperament. Life is never fair, and perhaps it is a good thing for most of us that it is not. Whenever people agree with me, I always feel I must be wrong. Everybody who is incapable of learning has taken to teaching. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. The world has grown suspicious of anything that looks like a happily married life. There is always something ridiculous about the emotions of people whom one has ceased to love. Experience is simply the name we give our mistakes. As long as a woman can look 10 years younger than her own daughter, she is perfectly satisfied. Between men and women, there is no friendship possible. There is passion, enmity, worship, love, but no friendship. Women are made to be loved, not understood. Those who find ugly meanings in beautiful things are corrupt without being charming. This is a fault. Questions are never indiscreet, answers sometimes are. I put all my genius into my life. I put only my talent into my works. You will always be fond of me. I represent to you all the sins you have never had the courage to commit. When the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers. I can resist everything, except temptation. To expect the unexpected shows a thoroughly modern intellect. Romance should never begin with sentiment. It should begin with science, and end with a settlement. True friends stab you in the front. Memory is the diary that we all carry about with us. A gentleman is one who never hurts anyone's feelings unintentionally. There is a luxury in self-reproach. When we blame ourselves, we feel no one else has a right to blame us. Ordinary riches can be stolen. Real riches cannot. In your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. Most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives a mimicry, their passions a quotation. Who, being loved, is poor? Morality is simply the attitude we adopt towards people whom we personally dislike. Men marry because they are tired. Women, because they are curious. Both are disappointed. A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. One should always be in love. That is the reason one should never marry. The only thing to do with good advice is to pass it on. It is never of any use to oneself. Work is the curse of the drinking classes. The man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. The true mystery of the world is the visible, not the invisible. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying. The one charm about marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary for both parties. One's real life is so often the life that one does not lead. Art is the most intense mode of individualism that the world has known. One should always play fairly when one has the winning cards. Pessimist, one who, when he has the choice of two evils, chooses both. How can a woman be expected to be happy with a man who insists on treating her as if she were a perfectly normal human being? It is better to have a permanent income than to be fascinating. A poet can survive everything but a misprint. Laughter is not at all a bad beginning for a friendship, and it is far the best ending for one. The advantage of the emotions is that they lead us astray. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. Man is a rational animal who always loses his temper when he is called upon to act in accordance with the dictates of reason. Women love us for our defects. If we have enough of them, they will forgive us everything, even our gigantic intellects. A man can't be too careful in the choice of his enemies. It is always the unreadable that occurs. An excellent man, he has no enemies, and none of his friends like him. Society exists only as a mental concept. In the real world, there are only individuals. Experience is one thing you can't get for nothing. I choose my friends for their good looks, my acquaintances for their good characters, and my enemies for their intellects. A man cannot be too careful in the choice of his enemies. The old believe everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, the young know everything. No woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. The moment you think you understand a great work of art, it's dead for you. I have never given adoration to anybody except myself. A thing is not necessarily true because a man dies for it. Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask, and he will tell you the truth. Beauty is the only thing that time cannot harm. Philosophies fall away like sand, creeds follow one another, but what is beautiful is a joy for all seasons, a possession for all eternity. One can survive everything nowadays, except death, and live down everything except a good reputation. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. There is nothing so difficult to marry as a large nose. No great artist ever sees things as they really are. If he did, he would cease to be an artist. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. It is absurd to divide people into good and bad. People are either charming or tedious. A man can be happy with any woman as long as he does not love her. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live, it is asking others to live as one wishes to live. When a man has once loved a woman, he will do anything for her, except continue to love her. I am the only person in the world I should like to know thoroughly. One of the many lessons that one learns in prison is that things are what they are, and will be what they will be. Which quote did you like the most? Share your opinion in the comments. Don't miss the chance to see the next video. Subscribe.